Hello, everyone, and welcome to twitch.tv/CLX Gaming TV. I am your host, DJ BluePDX, here with another amazing episode of CLX Foundry Live, where we go deep inside custom builds and assemble them from the ground up. Joining me, of course, on the front lines, it is our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and today's master builder, Zack Killingsworth.
Hello.
Zack, how's that tattoo feeling?
Oh man, you know, I had to get it removed. It was too much for me. I had to get it removed.
So you showered.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Today's show, we've got a really great build. Yeah. But first, before we do that, you know about the great, incredible giveaway that's going to be happening here soon. And that is going to be something you can enter by typing !GiveNV7. The codes you get in this stream, some might be unlimited. Some might also be limited, so you want to get that cashed in as soon as possible. You can find codes on our social media. That's YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter at CLX Gaming, as well as our Discord, which is discord.gg/CLX Gaming. And you can find them over on my channel as well. So that being said, today we've got an amazing build, and it's going to be for a very special group of people. Back at the end of last year, I was able to go down for the Hollywood Boys and Girls Club charity event with LANFest and shoutcast multiple different things with some really great people. And today we've got a special build. So joining us live on the show, welcome Marcus Major Linux Summers, but from the LANFest Board of Directors. Major Linux, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. I'm loving the intro. You know, that's just how I get down. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we've got a great build today, and this is going to be for something that you all are doing. So tell us a little bit about what this PC is going to be going for.
So the PC is being built and will be given away at a silent auction at DreamHack Dallas. I believe that's next weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
This weekend? Next week? I can't remember.
Next weekend.
Is it next weekend?
Next weekend.
7 days.
It is next weekend.
15 hours, 55
Oh my gosh,
minutes.
we're so close.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It came up on me too.
Yep.
I'm not even in Dallas. That's why I don't even know.
Also, big shout out in chat. Katie Briggs is here, and she heads up all the cool stuff that happens with LANFest. I could not have been more proud to have worked with her down in LA, and that was a lot of fun. So, boys, we've got a great PC to build. What are we putting in this bad boy?
Yeah, so starting out, we've got an Intel i7-13700K. We've got our CLX Quench 240 AIO to cool that. Our motherboard, we've got an ASRock B660M Steel Legend. We've got 16 gigs of DDR4, 3200 speed RGB memory from Kingston, and 2 8 gig sticks. We've got a 2 terabyte Kingston NVMe drive for our storage. We've got one of our O11 Snow White mini towers with a custom print design that I'll grab in just a second. That looks really good. It's hot off the press. We just got it done. 9 fans going into this, and then we've got a Silverstone SFX 750 watt power supply. So that's fully modular, 80 plus platinum, and it's tiny. And then last but not least, our video card. We've got an Intel Arc A750. So really excited to get that out of the box and into the system. So I'll grab the case right now. Like I said, we just got this design done. It looks spectacular. I love the colors on it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that looks great. Look at that.
So this is
and of course, it's on a Scarab. Scarabs are great cases.
Yep, this is the Snow White edition of the O11. There is 2 white versions. One is just a standard white that has a little bit more silver on it. This is the Snow White, so everything on this is white with silver hardware. So it looks really good. Show you some of the back panel too. Just really like
amazing.
this with all the designs. The light blue and the blues just all came out really well.
And one of the nicest things about this case is it is small and compact, and it's still got the same power, but it's also got some of the great features that we've come to love from Leon Lee with their O11 series. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So I'll start pulling the panels off the case like usual. I'll give Zach the motherboard, and we'll get to going.
Awesome. Yeah, this is going to be a fun build. And of course, for anybody who wants to know more about LANFest and how you can get involved in some really incredible charity opportunities, and if you're going to be there in Dallas and you're going to be streaming, you also can have an opportunity to help out with their charitable opportunities. Jump over to LANFest.com. You can find out everything you need to know there and figure out how you can get your community involved in an incredible charity today.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so let's go ahead and start off with our motherboard. We've got an ASRock B660M. It's a steel legend. Now we've had this board on the show before. It's the best part of both worlds. Now it's definitely got some really creative heat sinks you can see on that north bridge there once we get that top-down shot, and of course over the partial I/O panel. There we go. Let me take a look. Whoops. Yeah. This has some, it has a whole bunch of connectivity. It has a lot of different options for connectivity on here. Now, if you've still got an old school plug-in keyboard, it does have the ports for that, the PS2 ports. You've got two USB 2s, four USB 3.0s, and you've got your Dragon port, which is a 2.5 gig LAN port, which is great. IR in case you want to do an an IR level plug-in for sound. But you also have surround sound as well, a 5.1 channel opportunity there. And one thing I love about these boards is that they've actually decorated the IO plate. So often it's just plain silver, but these guys they definitely went out and made it cool. Now there are some tabs on the back. Zach, walk us through what it is you need to do when you have an IO plate like this, when you're going to be installing it into the case, that you don't end up potentially wrecking any of your ports.
Yes, so this has little tabs on our HDMI port and our LAN port. What we want to make sure we do is we want to push those back down against the IO shields. And the reason why is if that little piece of metal, when you go to put your motherboard into the case, if that accidentally gets put in there and then you were to plug an HDMI in there, you might end up frying your motherboard. So.
I have no idea about that. I've definitely never done that once, at least in life. As far as our processor goes, we've got a really powerful one today. It is an Intel Core i7-13700K. This is one heck of a powerful processor. Paul, what can you tell me about this processor that stands out?
Yeah, so this is the brand new 13th gen Intel. So all these processors are performing really well. This is a 16 core, 24 thread processor. So how that's broken down, why it's not 16 and 32, is 8 of those cores are P cores, which stands for performance cores, and those ones have hyper-threading on them. So those 8 cores will give you 16 threads. Then it's also got 8 efficiency cores as well. And how that'll work is if you're just browsing the web, not doing any tasks that are really demanding on your system, your computer will use less power and be more efficient. So really good design. Big kudos to Intel for that.
Gotcha. That's been great because this system will have a ton of processing power.
Yeah. All right, so I'm giving Zach our bracket for our AIO.
Obviously, we're going to have to. There we go. I was going to say, obviously, we have to cool this somehow, and so we're going to be using a CLX Quench 240 closed liquid cooler. We talk a lot about coolers on this show in different ways. On Tuesday's show, you saw some rather, what can I say, unique, vintage, or legacy gear. I'll say that. So walk us through the different ways that you can cool a processor and a CPU, why they're important, and how they differ in performance.
Yeah, so to cool your CPU, you've got really 2 main ways to do that. You can do it with air cooling or you can do it with liquid cooling. Most of the time on the show, we do liquid cooling, which is what we're doing here. We've got our AIO. But for air cooling, typically what you see there is usually just a block of metal with some fins cut into it with a fan on top. That usually comes with some of the processors, so if you ever get like a stock fan with your processor, that's what you have. So going into the liquid cooling part, we're obviously using an AIO, which stands for all-in-one. So I'll hand this to Zach. Yeah, go ahead right there. So the all-in-one is just that. All of our coolant is already in here. All we have to do is install our mounting hardware to our motherboard, put and attach that to the hardware, and we're good to go. So very convenient to install and provides excellent cooling. Definitely better than an air cooler. So yeah, really easy to install there.
It's got that line of the thermal paste, which is great.
Now I
know
have,
that we're gonna. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna get in. Now I know I have some friends here. When I always mention water cooling, or when I take my builds places, they see my AIO and they're like, I can't. I just don't trust anything that is liquid in a PC. I know what, like, they tell you not to put a toaster in a bathtub. Why would I put liquid? Why would I put any fluids in a PC? Is there
He's not
something you
wrong.
could tell those folks who? I mean, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely like I've heard that before too from a lot of people. Now with the AIOs, they're pretty solid. Like we're not going to open this thing up at all. So if it's not leaking when you pull it out of the box, 99.9% of the time it's not going to leak on you. We've built probably thousands of these, and I've seen maybe 1 or 2 leak. And then the coolant that's in there, even if it does get on your board, obviously that's not ideal. But as long as it's not sitting on there for a long period of time, you should be able to just power down your computer and it shouldn't cause any damage. Now, when we do open loop systems as well, which are the real nice boutique systems that we custom bend the tubes and everything, we will fill those ourselves, hence why they're open loop. And what we do is we put rags under every one of the fittings in there in case it does leak, just to kind of catch some of that fluid. But we have had it where it leaks and it's sprayed all over the motherboard, and we just power it off, wipe everything down, get it real clean, and it usually works. So.
Yeah, I'm right there with you until I actually got to see my favorite build ever, which was the 011 with the distro plate, and that will be my next system for that one. But I also know me and my absurdities, and I would pretty much be sure to dunk everything accidentally in water because I'm an idiot. But since that thing has external ports, right? The drain and the input are on the outside of the case. I was like, okay, that I can work with. That I cannot screw up. That'll be fine. But I know that my case, which is actually the one behind them, is currently got an AIO in it. Yeah. Looking good back there. So, all right, we've got this. Now, we've also got did we already put the M.2 in?
Not yet. We're going to go to the RAM next, though.
You want to do the RAM next?
Yeah, let's do that next.
All right. Now, this system's going to come with two 8-gig Kingston DDR4 3200 sticks, the total of 16 gigs of RAM, which today is fairly standard when it comes to gaming. This is going to be perfect because it's going to be that great speed that you get with DDR4 RAM, and it's also got that really fun RGB on the back end. This is going to look incredible. What are some notes to take when you are installing RAM into a new motherboard so that you make sure you've got them in the right slots?
Yeah, the biggest thing is to consult your motherboard manual if you're not sure which slots to use for your memory. Now, 99% of the time when you've got 4 slots of memory like we do and we're using 2 sticks, you're going to use slot 2 and 4. So that's a pretty safe bet, but if you're ever questioning it at all, definitely consult your motherboard manual. There can be some variance across brands there. So yeah, it's always safe to go by the book.
Speaking of by the book, I want to say hello and welcome to all of our first-time messengers in here. We've got Force Run, Science Streams, Kumariji, TLVJ85. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you all here. And of course, if you have any questions about terms or references that you see or hear us use and you're not quite sure what they are, please remember there is no such thing as a dumb question. Ask away in the chat. I'll get that answered for you as quickly as possible, because if there were such things as dumb questions, Sharknado would not have become a thing. And there we go. All right, moving on to our M.2. This is a 2 terabyte Kingston NV1 M.2 NVMe SSD. These things are wild. Tell me about this hard drive.
Yeah, so this is like you said, a 2 terabyte M.2 SSD. This is the Kingston brand. We've recently started carrying a lot of these in 500 gig, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabyte, and I've seen really good performance out of these. Really reliable, just a solid drive. And obviously 2 terabytes is a lot of storage for an M.2 drive. That's bigger than any of the M.2s I have in my system at home. So a little jealous of this, but you can see Zack installing our heat shield on top of there. So this is just going to allow the heat to transfer from the M.2 to this heat shield, and then that heat will get blown away by the case fans.
I'm blown away by that screwdriver.
Thank you.
Oh, so these are
That
flawless.
thing's got tricks
today.
all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, what comes next?
All right, do we want to do fans on the AIO or do that after?
Do that once I drop.
Okay, so we are ready to mount this into our case. So we'll slide this over here. I'll pop in your IO shield real quick. So installing the IO shield, a lot of the times this is built onto the motherboard on some of the builds we do. So with this, you just want to make sure you got it oriented correctly so you don't have it upside down. And then this should just pop into the gaps. Now you want to be a little bit careful when you're installing these because the sides can be very sharp. Like if I'm out in the warehouse and I need to open a box, I don't have a knife on me and there's an IO shield laying around, I legitimately use the IO shield because it can cut open boxes.
Yeah,
so
that's
definitely want to be careful with that.
I have some scars from IO shields. I kid you not.
Yeah.
So there we go. Get that all popped in there correctly. Now, one thing to point out, we've discussed previously how some boards will have like that old board we used on Tuesday, the one from ancient days of old. That board only had 6 standoffs, but even though this is a smaller case, it's a modern board, which means it's still got 9 standoffs. What are standoffs and what do they do when it comes to how they affect the motherboard?
Yeah, so our standoffs are these silver pieces you can see right here, and what the function of these is they separate the motherboard from touching the frame of the case, so you don't have any shorting in your motherboard or anything like that. Now we have an MATX motherboard, so the mounting screws for this kind of vary across the M's. So this one's still going to have 9 mounting screws. Typically an MATX will usually have between like 6, sometimes 7. They get kind of weird. But we've got 9 here, so that's what Zach's looking at right now. We actually have to, you can see that piece, sorry Zach, on the right here. We're installing this into the case since our board is a little bit wider so that we can get to these standoffs here. So we're just making sure all those are in the right positions. You don't want to have an extra one touching your motherboard in a spot where it shouldn't, because that can obviously, you know, cause anything from minor issues to total board failure. So definitely want to be careful, make sure you got the right standoffs in. And then we'll put this in.
So, you know, since we're talking about boards, I'd like to shift back over to our resident local board member from LANFest. It is, of course, Major Linux, Marcus Summers, and we're glad to have you here. So tell us a little bit about some of the engagement that LANFest has with the communities around it.
So, one, I do want to point out, amazing segue. Just top-notch, top tier. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so LANFest, we've been building other communities through gaming since 2002. It is wild to think that there's been a charitable organization that's been exclusive, that's been including, that was been working through gaming for that long, 21 years. It's one of the things that we're actually celebrating. Like it was a joke in one of our meetings saying that, oh, LANFest is now old to drink. So we're actually are celebrating 21 years of LANFest. We've partnered with Voodoo Ranger for our new Lands Across America event. We're like trying to help raise money for LANFest so that we can help our 20 chapters over 15 states to be able to hold local lands in their community and enable them to raise money for local charities that mean something to them.
And I'll be honest, the support for LANFest has been amazing, especially considering like what we did down in California when we went for the Celebrity Hollywood Boys and Girls Club event. Over $70,000 in a very short amount of time, which was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, like I've been a part of the board since 2021, and even in just the 2 years that I've been a part of it, it's been amazing to see what's been going on with LANFest. Of course, like when I joined, we were still in the middle of the pandemic, but to see that did not slow a lot of these chapters down. Like they went to virtual events and was still impacting their community, still having positive impacts within their communities up until they were able to open doors. And then when they opened doors, people were ready to go out, and like just the support exploded.
Yeah,
it's been an amazing thing to see.
Well, and it was so great, you know, seeing everybody at TwitchCon. That was when I finally got to reconnect with everybody, and it was an absolute blast. So it's always fun to see the various different ways that you can support. And of course, I mentioned this in chat. If you're a content creator and you really want to get involved in something that helps benefit the communities around you and raise some money for great causes, just head on over to LANFest.com. It's a great organization. Real quick, we do have a question coming in for the boys, and so TLV asks, since the topic of mounting and ATX standards, which cases The topic is mounting and EATX standards. What are the best cases for EATX, in particular, the ASRock Z5900 OC formula?
Okay. So EATX is a big version. The E stands for extended, so it's a big version of the ATX. So you definitely want a large case. Make sure whatever case you're picking from has EATX capabilities. Not all ATX cases can do EATX motherboards, but just a couple right off the bat. Probably, I mean, if budget's not an issue, the new NV7 is great. Would recommend that. The Fantex Evolve X is really good. Any of the Leon Lee 011 XL, we love that one. There's a lot of good options for cases out there for EATX.
Yeah. Ooh, while you've got it in your hand, Zach, let's pop that up and talk about how you can keep your case clean.
So this case is going to have this nice slide out dust filter on the bottom. So when you're sucking in all that sweet pet fur, it's getting stopped right there. It's going nowhere. The case on the back panel also has 2 spots where we will be sucking in some fresh air for our liquid cooler, and we'll have some fresh air back here with our power supply and our hard drive area.
Awesome. So, since you mentioned sliding back in, I want to slide back into questions over here with Major Linux. I'm good at this.
You are.
Here's a question. So, the next event that LANFest will be at, obviously, will be there. We're going to be there with you. DreamHack Dallas is coming up the first weekend in June. What are some of the activities that attendees are going to be able to take part in, and the content creators as well, in order to help raise money for the charities that weekend?
So the big thing that we have here, according to my notes, just so you know, I've got some notes here. According to my notes, we've got the Community Causeway at DreamHack Dallas. We've partnered with some amazing, we're bringing in 9 different nonprofits to game and raise funds together.
Wow.
That entire weekend. We're looking at one up on cancer, the Texas Scholastic Esports Federation, because we're sitting there trying to get the next generation up and running. They're already sitting there running circles around me on Fortnite, so let's go ahead and get them organized now. The Starlight Children's Foundation, VGC USA, or the Video Game Clubs of US, or Video Game Club USA, Rescue Friends of Texas, the Children's Medical Center Dallas, which is a part of the Children's Miracle Network, and Regiment GG, which works with military gaming, which is a military gaming community.
Nice.
Awesome.
Also, in the 1,000 Dreams Fund.
Sweet. That's going to be a lot of different options for raising money.
Oh, yeah.
My mom was actually just recently diagnosed with cancer, so I definitely want to try and help out with the cancer charity as well. But also, as former Navy, Regiment.gg sounds like a really great group of people that I probably want to meet and see what they're all about.
Oh, most definitely. And that's the thing about like charities. I know there's so many of them. It's so hard to pick and choose which one. The thing is, like, hey, choose the one that means the most to you. Give back. Like it doesn't matter. You're helping someone, and that's the important part. That there are people that are being helped, and if LANFest can help facilitate that for somebody, I see that as a win-win regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, your events are always fun. Anybody who was in San Diego for TwitchCon this past year, it was hilariously awesome. We had a great party with Intel over in what I believe was a children's museum or experience center, and they had a thing called a whammock upstairs, and it's a giant weaved hammock thing made out of. I'm gonna say it's huge. It's huge, and there's different holes, and you have to crawl in and find a pathway into the up center because you're inside the main area. And it took me a minute, but it's designed for kids, and so as an adult, you've got to put one arm in and shift your shoulder up so you can get the other arm through like that, and then get up. And then once you get in, you realize, how am I going to get out of here?
Yeah, I'm tired now. This is where I'm staying for the rest of the night. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a really great experience and a lot of really Great fun. So you all are involved with a lot of major conventions. We know that you're at TwitchCon. We also know that you are all at PAX, and we were at PAX East together, and now we're going to be at DreamHack. What other events does LANFest get involved in?
So this year we'll actually be at San Diego Comic-Con on July 19th through 23rd, partnering again with Voodoo Ranger. Apparently there is a pirate ship that is going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, and so we'll be there helping Voodoo Ranger and their pirate ship. I don't know how.
Pirates in video games, right?
I mean, there's plenty. There's one game I'm looking forward to that Ubisoft keeps delaying.
I know.
But look, Assassin's Creed 4 got me his hooks on me with the pirates. So can I just get that? And they're teasing me with it every time.
Yep.
But yeah. So I don't know how Voodoo Ranger's going to get a pirate ship into a building, but somehow they will. LANFest will be there helping them out.
People fit pirate ships into bottles all the time. What are you talking about?
But that's I don't understand how they do these things. Do we get like a giant pair of tweezers? Like, how does this?
Miss Frizzle's at the door, and we all load up onto the school bus, and then we drive inside.
Got it.
Right.
That makes so much sense.
You just got to use a funnel.
These are all valid options. Yeah. I see.
It's an interesting story. Because I got into gaming, esports, and casting a little over 10 years ago when I got hit by a car, and so I spent the first 9 months on a couch. I couldn't walk. I had to have my leg above my heart like 23 hours a day. Anyways, so I was in the basement where there's no windows, and I couldn't do anything. And a friend of mine bought me Black Flag and said, "Here, I know you're an Assassin's Creed fan. Here you go." And I found it to be a great way to get out of my environment and into our big screen TV. And I spent so much time just sailing the seas, just to sail. It was so relaxed. I would fall asleep to that until I would run aground. It was a beautiful game. So I'm really excited to hear what's going to be happening at San Diego Comic-Con. I kind of want to go now.
That story reminds me of I was doing a charity event. The 24-hour event. I was at a friend's house. I was playing GTA 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was like maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was getting really tired and I guess a little delirious. So I thought I was actually driving the car. I pulled over in the video game, turned the car off, and then paused the game so I could go to sleep because I did not want to be caught behind the wheel driving.
Well, and especially if you're in an RP server, man, they are very specific about obey the laws.
This was I don't even think the online was in GTA 5 at the time when that happened.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, wow.
This was still on the PS3.
Oh, wow, yeah. So as long as you're not doing anything weird or illegal, nobody's going to touch you if you're in your car. That was one of the sacred rules of GTA, which was nice. I enjoyed that. I would, for a long time, used to, when I just didn't want to go out or was going through whatever, I would play video games to keep me from doing anything stupid. And I would forever be falling asleep. And I did this so many times with Batman Arkham Asylum, where there's the shot where as he comes out of the cave and you have to do the cave flight down. I remember specifically falling asleep and had it holding the controller button forward, the stick, and just Batman kept walking off and dying. And it was just not. I have killed Bruce Wayne and Ezio from Assassin's Creed more times because I fell asleep while playing the game at some ridiculous hour of the morning. And yeah, whoopsie. I remember killing Spider-Man on accident while we were recording a promo piece at PAX West in 2018 with Mixer and with Xbox. And they're like, all right, here's what you're gonna do. And I'm over there trying to play it, and all of a sudden I killed him, and I thought, I just killed Spider-Man live on TV.
Cut the feed, cut the feed.
I'm a terrible, right? We go to commercial. All right, now we've got this already in there. We can see the fans on there. Now, Paul, the fans are obviously on one side of the radiator for the AIO. Let's talk about that. What's the best pathway for passing air through those radiators to achieve the best amount of cool?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways you can mount your fans to your radiator. You can have them in a push method, which would be the air is pushing through the radiator out, or you can have them pulling air through. Now, typically we do the push method, but with this case design and the way this is mounted, we are pulling air through the radiator. So this will perform fine. Like I said, typically we like to do push, but with this case design, this is what we like to do. It gives it a good look. So we're gonna have 3 more fans going in the bottom here and 1 over there in the rear. So our intakes are gonna be from the bottom and from the AIO, and our exhaust is gonna be out the top and then out the rear right here.
So that's great. 9 fans in a case that size. That's gonna be super cool.
Yeah, 9 fans in a case like this is pretty impressive. So pretty.
Well, speaking of fans, let's talk about the fans of LANFest and some of the biggest events that you guys have pulled off.
I want to say, so as a part of the board, I've only been to one. So I went to LANFest Colorado back in late September, early October. And believe it or not, it was the first time I actually got to use a CLX built PC.
Nice.
You guys, I think you guys provide a lot of our hero machines. So I showed up and it's like this nice, pristine, giant white tower with just rainbow fans everywhere. See, for personally, that just seems a lot. But for this, like, no, I want to show that I'm balling. So yeah, make sure you got the lights. Everything is just on.
Exactly.
I want to say that Katie, again, shout out to Katie. She has a picture of me just like grinning from ear to ear because I'm just like, yeah, that's right. I'm playing with all the colors.
That's incredible.
But yeah, like a lot of these huge LAN events they're just so amazing to go to. I think one of the biggest ones that we have are LAN all night. I was not provided that list. So I'm not entirely sure, but I know like the biggest one that I hear all the time when I'm going into meetings is LAN all night, which is based out of Texas. I want to say they work with, split off from, they somehow tangentially related to QuakeCon. So yeah, it's just seeing these events, seeing what they're like, seeing what all of these folks are doing. It's just amazing. You know, that you bring so many people, so many folks with all these big giant rigs or even small ones like this one to events, and they're all getting together and just playing games. And it's something that when I was a kid, I wish I lived near people, because I lived in the sticks. Nobody knew what a computer was. But yeah, like to see like all these see all these gamers in the community come out and sit there and just play these games together. It's an amazing thing to see. And again, like with 20 chapters in 15 different states, I mean, you'd almost sit there and trip over a LANFest chapter if you weren't careful.
I do have a question coming in for the guys real quick. Dr. Gonzo says they just discovered the channel. And yes, we do live builds Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at 11 a.m. Pacific right here on the channel. And each week it's a different style of build, different kind with different purposes. Sometimes they're customer builds, sometimes they're giveaway builds. And each month we give away a PC. But the question coming in from Dr. Gonzo is, where are some good resources to learn about hardware? For example, what impact does CPU speed have on performance? How to know how strong the power supply should be for the hardware you choose, and how to best match a CPU and GPU.
Yeah, these are great questions. So the first thing you want to do whenever you're asking those questions is figure out what games are you going to be playing. That's the number one thing. Usually when people ask, hey, can you recommend a PC for me? The first question we're going to ask back is, well, what do you plan on doing? Because you could spend $6,000 on a computer, but if you're not going to be playing the latest and greatest titles in 2K or 4K, it's probably a little bit overkill. So that's the first thing I would do, is figure out what games you want to be playing. And then there's a lot of good websites you can look at for your CPU. And then for your power supply, you can just Google power supply calculator. You can put in all your specs in there. there. It can even break it down to how many RAM sticks you have, to how many SSDs, M.2s, 3.5 inch, and then it will spit out a recommendation for a power supply there. So if you just want just that straight knowledge, it's all right there. I even use those power supply calculators quite a bit whenever we're coming up with a new configuration. And we're not quite sure, like, this is a pretty beefy build, is this power supply enough? So those are some great tools to use. CPU Boss is a website that I use. I haven't been to it in a while, but it's a really good one to compare one CPU to another. So.
And speaking of power, let's hop into that thing right underneath your hands. This is the power supply for this wicked little build. This is actually a 750 watt Silverstone SFX 750. This is an 80 plus platinum. Now, you know, I think platinum, I think of, you know, when I had hair and I was a fan of Madonna's. So tell us a little bit about what the different ratings are when you've got 80 plus for platinum versus some of the other ratings.
Yeah, so when you're looking at a power supply, I always recommend at least go with something that has an 80 plus rating. Now those start out with just 80 plus. It'll have a little white image around it. It'll look like this. I'll try to bring this closer. This is what you're looking for. Now this is obviously platinum color, but if it was white, that's just the baseline. And then they have bronze, silver, gold, platinum, titanium on the way up. And what that refers to is the efficiency of the power supply. So how much power it's pulling out of your wall and how much power that's using. So this platinum one obviously has a really good efficiency rating. Just to get the base 80 plus, it's got to be 80% efficient in at 10%, 50%, and 100% loads. So that's what that refers to. And as you climb up the ladder there, it just gets more and more efficient. So I definitely recommend at least going with just an 80 plus, and then you can, you know, figure out for yourself, you know, how high on that rating list you want to go. The reason they're so high up there with like platinum and titanium, most of those are used for like mining rigs where you're really trying to get that power efficiency under control. But you know, in my system at home, I have an 80 plus gold, 80 plus bronze was my last PC. Any of those 80 plus are good to go with.
And then of course, this is a non-modular power supply. No, it's a modular power supply, excuse me. Run us through the differences between those, the different styles of power supplies you can come up with.
Yeah. So this is a fully modular power supply, which means none of the cables are soldered in. Now, this is also an SFX power supply, so it is tiny. That SFX means it's a small form factor, and for this case, that's what we need. So it's kind of hard to believe this is your modular power supply right here. I mean, it literally fits in the palm of my hand.
And
this is
750 watt SFX is about the same size too.
Yep. There's a 1,000 watt version of this that's the same. So very cool. This is always just this is still just really cool to me that it's this small. And then going back to the fully modular, so you can see we've got all of our ports right here. So what this allows us to do is just install the cables that we need for the system, and we won't have any extra that we need to bundle up. Now, the extra cables that are with this, we'll send along with the system. That way, whichever lucky person gets this, they'll have the extra cables in case they add some stuff to the system and need them later on.
Yep. And by the way, people, if you didn't see it, there's a code in the chat. It's NV7 Kinks, KINX.
Oh, look at all that code.
97.6 KINX, the music revolution.
Yeah.
All right, first 100 people to get 100 extra entries into the giveaway. You want to make sure you grab that right now. If you don't know what the link is, type !give NV7 to find out more. Now, I will say that there is, just a nice little segue, there is more that LANFest does aside from just live events. You also have game nights.
Yeah, so we've just started back doing community nights in our Discord server. I participated on their inaugural event for 2023, which was on Back for Blood. I think we are doing, and I have it somewhere around here. We're doing Jetbox this weekend.
Oh, nice.
A couple of weekends ago, it was Mario Kart 8.
Ooh.
So yeah. We're doing that, so we have community nights. I think it's looking like every other Friday, if my math checks out.
Sweet.
You know, math is hard.
And speaking of which, well, since you mentioned that it's in Discord, so people can join the community and find other people who are also helping with similar projects, maybe team up with other content creators or other users to create different opportunities for fundraising. How would someone get involved and get over to your Discord?
So let's see. I think it is discord.gg/LANFest, if I'm not mistaken. I do not remember that off the top of my head.
I believe it is.
Okay.
I believe it is. I know because I'm in it.
Like I'm in it, but it's like your phone number, like your mobile phone number is like once you have it, it's like, why do I need to know my number? You're calling me. I'm not calling me.
Right. I will say that, like, I remember I was talking about this with a friend of mine that I went to high school with. When I was growing up, you knew everybody's phone numbers by heart. You just did, and it was never an issue. And now, man, I can hardly remember. I don't. If I had to call my mom, I'd have to have my phone, or it's not happening.
Now,
and that's sad.
Now, I will say that at least my mom and my wife are the only two numbers that I have memorized. Because look, if I need any help, I need to know who I call.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, at this point, though, I can remember. I'm old enough that I can remember the lyrics to songs from the '80s, but I can't remember why I walked into the kitchen. Like, no clue. I know I came down here for something, but all right then. So we've got our early bird code. We've got this code. We've got so many codes to give away. I'm going to be giving a code away today. Later on, I'm going to be on Destiny 2 today, which is going to be fun this afternoon. Jumping back in with the brand new expansion for the Deep with this season, which it's underwater. It's wild. It is very much reminiscent of BioShock in that sense. A lot of fun.
Have you fished
lot
yet?
of fun there. I have not. That is what I'm going to be doing today. Is going to be to go fishing.
Cool.
And
Jose was
I'm
telling
gonna.
me about that.
Oh yeah. Well, and so I'd never done a hunter. The last time I played hunter was Destiny 1, and I was just like, they were not my bag, because you had to be. It was very precision based accuracy. And anybody who knows me, I am incredible. Stormtrooper like at missing shots. So if you've got a golden gun, you only got 3 shots, and you got to hit the target. I'm like, nope, that ain't happening. So I'm not playing this character. So everybody kept telling me, I know George, George and Drake were very adamant. You need to make a hunter. Hunter's a great hunter, because I'm a Titan. And so before the end of last season, built up my warlock, punched it all the way up to over 1800, and then started a hunter. And I'd never played the Destiny 2 with a hunter before. And I'll be honest, I really, really like it. I like the hunter character. It's a lot of fun. So I'm going through the campaign sequences with each character as we build up. So I've got the same. That way, when it comes to new raids, I can use whatever is necessary. But yeah.
You're such a team player. I'm just a
I tried.
DPS.
Well,
if you want heals, you need to ask
yeah.
the healer. If you want a tank,
all I
I'll
know
tank
is
for you.
often.
Yes, I just want that big beefy guy. So look, just I will be a sponge. Like for the team, I'll be the sponge. Like I'll just run out, shoot me, while everybody else just handles the objective.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Temperance. So, ironically, Temperance, we're going to be using that Xbox coming up for I have a Sega event coming up at the end of the month. So, which will be fun. Now, I will say, speaking of fun and all things that are wild, this is one of our favorite frames. Paul and I absolutely adore this card because it is, I think, one of the prettiest designs out there when it comes to the way that it's put together. This is the brand new Arc 750 8 gig with, and it's all GDDR6, but the way that this is framed, the lighting on it, the enclosure, the back end, the finish, it's incredible. Paul, walk us through this card and what makes it stand out and so different.
Yeah, so overall, let's go ahead. I think we're going to switch. There we go. Try to do a nice boxing. So here we are. Really like this card here. It's lightweight. It looks good. It's not crazy huge. 2-slot card right there, as you can see. We've got a couple fans that will glow blue. And then my favorite part of these cards is the 8-pin and 6-pin connector. We don't have to use a weird dongle to plug this thing in, so it'll look good in our system as well. And we'll get this
it's going to be... So I got a chance to actually play on these cards both at TwitchCon and at PAX, and was amazed at how fluid they were. You know, and you know, we've talked about where this is in the range of offered products for video cards in the industry, and they're being really competitive with this, which is nice.
Yeah, that's one of the things that me and Zach, we both talked about when we were first starting to carry these Arc cards, is just, I really like what Intel's doing with these cards. I like that they're designing them for kind of that mid-tier gaming. They're obviously going to have some that cover all the aspects, but I really like where it's targeted and what they're going for. Makes it really accessible, and it's performing great, and it's a good price point too.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
I'm glad that it wasn't like some crazy $2,000 card, you know, that just is supposed to stomp everything else. I really like that.
I was able to get my hands on these cards, just like literal hands on. I don't own one, but when I was in Colorado for their event, the Intel Arc truck came through, and this was like a week or so before the actual launch of the cards. So I felt so special just to be able to get in there and just like touch the card and handle it and look at it upside down, sideways.
And it's solid.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful card, and I love like the Founders card is just so. It's a beautifully designed card, and I was able to play it on their Nooks, which so like we were talking about this being a small PC, like those Nooks with these cards, it's like 90% graphics card and 10% everything else. But yeah, playing on those Nooks with the I think it was the 12th gen i9s.
Yeah, it was probably 12.
Beautiful performance. Beautiful performance between the chip and the card. It's just like, I if I can, I want one of these cards.
Yeah.
Like I know I've got my RTX 3080 Ti here, but this like for $300 for the at the time it was $300 for the A750. It was like that's amazing. Like the performance you're getting out of that for that cost, like please sign me up.
Yeah.
Yep. Just Better's actually in the chat. Just Better won the A770 from the Intel scavenger hunt. I remember that. Congratulations on that. And that scavenger hunt was not simple. That was you had to be on top of it to get it all done in the right amount of time, which is great. Yeah, Stream Tech also brings up the deals on A770s are wild right now. Absolutely incredible. So definitely check them out if you're looking for something new that is affordable. Try it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's permanent or not, but I know that recently I saw that the A770s dropped like $50 in price, so they're not like $250.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I mean, this just keeps getting better.
Yep,
and it's
agreed.
And as a content creator, like I look at a lot of the video encoding. It is one of the only cards that does AV1 encoding for YouTube. So you can get like those high resolution, high frame rate game streaming to YouTube with less bandwidth.
Yeah,
and it's like I look at my 3080 Ti. I said, see, now you're just worthless, man. You can't do that.
You could, you can mine some Ethereum with it or something.
No, thank you. No.
Now, one thing I do want to point out that's unique about this case that it follows along with the Leon Lee design is the fact that this is what we call a 2/3 build. With traditional cases, you'll notice the board is always mounted to the back of the case. Well, not so much with this one. Notice that it is 2/3 of the way up, and it provides a nice gap in the rear for there to be auxiliary elements in there. Paul, what goes into that gap that's in the back?
Yeah, so right here what you can see Zach working on, this is our hard drive bay. We can fit 2.5-inch and 3.5-inch drives in here. So whoever gets this, you've got definitely room for expansion there. And in this hole right here, this is where we're going to be putting our power supply. So that'll sit right in there. All of our cables run to it. You want to do that now?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh man, it's so big.
So tiny. Yeah.
Silver hard
which is great. It gives you good opportunity. Now, does that affect the heat or cooling of the device, given that differentiate the different positioning of those elements?
Yeah, so with this design, our power supply, you can obviously see our fan right here on top. It's going to be pulling fresh air in from the back and exhausting it out this hole where Zach's screwing it in right here. So none of the heat from the power supply is going to go into the main body of the case.
That's got to be helpful when it comes to heat management.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe you have in your hands, now that looks like you're holding on to some cable mods.
These are the standard cables that come with it. So we've got our standard
Okay, so they are
sleeve
the standards,
cables.
okay.
Yep. These are the flat. So I kind of like that. They kind of they can stack them up a little bit easier to manage.
Nice. I do very much like this Stormtrooper look to it. The white and black on the outside, the blue hints. Actually, it's like if you cross a Stormtrooper with a Mandalorian. I actually saw a great picture the other day. It was somebody made a hybrid suit for cosplay, and it's called Batman DeLorean, and it is a Mandalorian Batman.
Oh yeah.
And the quote on his business card was, "This is the Wayne."
Nice.
I was like, "This is the Wayne," and I realized, "Oh, Bruce Wayne." Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Wayne's World.
All right.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Alrighty, so here we
Here
go.
we go. That graphics card put in this will be a lot of fun. And again, based on the weight of this, we aren't going to need a brace. But I would like to point out that line, that you can see the line going. It looks a little bit red in this shot.
Yep.
And that is actually a light. That's actually a light. Makes these look incredible.
It just looks so good. That car looks so good.
They do. It really does. It really does.
Like a lot of these angry looking GPUs out there, man, is like, that's too much. I just want a nice,
Right?
clean, simple.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Really
Yeah,
complements the build.
there's some you're right, angry looking cards that are basically tantamount to, look, how did you get a graphics card to look like a Decepticon?
Yeah.
Why?
I had a 1080. I had a GTX 1080 from MSI. It was triple fan, and I had to take out hard drives in my I think I had an H410.
Oh,
I
God.
had to take out hard drives from the drive bays and kind of hook it in to my case just so I could get it in there. It's like, you know what? I'm not moving this thing ever again. It's gonna live there forever.
Yeah.
Right? Once it's in, it's in.
And then it's like I forgot about it until I got the 3080, and then I had to take it back out again, and I was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh no, this is a mess. This is a mess. I'm gonna go get this out without having to disable. Like this is some of this whole PC."
I'm not doing this
And it-
again.
I see one of my friends in the chat, Idios and Anka. I actually sent her that 1080, and then sit there. I think I was helping her out, so she was like on Instagram, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to see you get that 1080 into your case." Because it was not
Back of
easy
this.
for me, and I forgot.
Oh yeah. The back of this looks really great. You've obviously got those shields over the shield covers. You can see that the back plate just below the power supply. That's going to be where those drive trays are for the winner in the event that they want to expand the memory and go beyond just an M.2. So again, the functionality of an O11, no matter what size, is always incredible.
Yeah, these are really well designed cases.
Yeah, I'd want to turn this into a server now.
Ah,
Like, I've got a small little land for Extra Life coming up in a couple of days, and I'm gonna look at this. Looks like a PC I would take to that instead of having to take my H710 with
Oh.
me.
That's a big beast.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
I remember when I bought my first my first NZXT case. I just had my wife and I just had our son, and I took a picture of him sitting next to that NZXT case, and then it's been about 6 years since I replaced that case with the 710, and I took a picture with him beside that 710. It's like he was just barely taller than the box at 6. I said, these cases are too massive, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
I need to learn how to spell NV7.
Okay, cool. I like that.
There we go. So all the instructions on which countries are eligible are all the terms and conditions are all listed on the giveaway site. So check that out.
Both of those were the VGAs.
Yeah, I had a. I don't know.
Perfect.
There we go. Yeah, I will say there are some countries where it is prohibited, unfortunately. So if you are in one of those countries, deepest apologies, but unfortunately there's not much we can do about that. There we go. Look at that. Getting all those wires put in there. Cable management is such an essential key to ensuring that everything works correctly. What are some really great management practices when it comes to these things that will aid in making sure that you have achieved proper cable management inside of your case?
So, like this system here, I have already done it, but our PCI cables have little dongles, little tails on them. So what you want to do is just kind of zip tie those up. Make sure also that they don't, blow off into the fan. If they're rolling real close to a fan, you don't want to have a card in your bike spokes here. I know that's really fun to listen to, but on a computer system, it's probably not the best thing to have blaring inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another little trick, just leave a little bit of excess inside. That makes it easy to troubleshoot. So like if you have to make sure it's seated right, if it's pulled extremely hard, it's hard to get a finger in there. So just a little, like a finger's width of room is nice just for troubleshooting later if need be.
Yeah.
24.
There we go.
That thing scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna look absolutely wonderful.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of
Now,
really
Major Linux, what-
excited. Sorry.
you're good.
Kyle, so like Paul said at the very beginning, Kyle brought this to us fresh off of the printer. And the design is actually like a new technique that he's having to learn. And it's super cool. Like, I'm really excited for him to be making some new case designs for us to do giveaways. It's real cool.
Yeah. Now, this will be part of the LANFest giveaway program. How is that going to work at Dallas?
That I do not think I have those.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, I don't have. Yeah, I do not have that information on me.
Well, to find out more, people, you got to show up in Dallas, because I do know the one thing you have
Yeah,
to be on
that
site
yeah,
to
that
win
as
the
much as
giveaway.
I
It's
know
not
too.
Yeah, the one thing that we do know is that is the thing. So anybody who's going to be going to DreamHack in Dallas, guess what? You have the potential chance of winning this beautiful little powerhouse.
Like I almost thought, like maybe I should get a ticket and just fly to Dallas and try to win it myself.
It is a silent auction at DreamHack Dallas. There we
Yeah.
go. It is a silent auction. There we are.
Yeah.
So-
the exact rules of said side auction, I have no clue.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Just that SATA power, and we should be rocking and rolling.
Sweet. I've got a SATA with
Now,
4
here's
on
a question.
Yeah, that'll be
Enough.
I just have 2.
2?
Yep.
Cool.
Now, is that bay a hot swap bay or simply a mounting bay?
This is a mounting bay. So yeah, this one is not hot swappable.
Got it, okay.
Now that
What's the difference?
So what that means is you can, just pull your, if it's hot swappable, you can just pull the drive out, stick a new one in while the system's on. That's why it's the hot swap, and you're good to go. So, oh yeah. So,
Nice.
yeah, the XL has the bays that have cables coming out of the bays. I have that right here. I've got one right here. So, this is a pretty cool design. If you're going with the XL, the person who asked about EATX, you get 2 of these in the XL. So 4 bays that are hot swappable. These all plug in so that you can just add a hard drive whenever you want. You don't have to worry about managing any cables.
Yeah. And of course, it's got those magnetic filters for up top. Those are so easy to clean. They're wonderful. Paul, let's talk about some care elements for those filters on the top.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we got magnetic filters on the top and all around this case. So that's what this one is. You can see it's got this notch cut out for the hole right here. And these just...
It's even a white filter too.
Yeah, yeah.
Snow White.
Looks good. So yeah, hey look, we even got a little piece of dust on there. So yeah, so these just sit here, they're magnetic, and when you want to clean it, you probably clean your system, I don't know, every 6 months, pull the panels off, wipe the filters down. You just pull it off like this, you can wipe it down, run it under water, whatever you want to do to get it clean. Just make sure it's dry before you throw it back in your system. Very easy, just like that.
Yep.
Man, for a Snow White build like that, you want to do that more often.
Yeah, I probably should do it more
Right.
often. I don't clean my PC as much as I should, so.
Yeah. It was talking about filters, and I'm looking at mine, so,
Yeah,
should probably do something about that.
yep.
Every now and then I'll bring my Dyson down here and just go nuts.
I think we're good.
Good to start throwing panels back on, alrighty.
Woo! Let's do it. I'm excited to see this thing put together. It's going to be great.
Let's see, this is even the fastest I've seen a PC being built live on the stream.
Oh, yeah. No, and these guys,
Oh, yeah.
the irony is that was Zack going at medium speed.
Wow.
He and Hayden can whip a computer together in a ridiculously short amount of time, and it's a little absurd.
Right, so here is our back
Loco asks,
panel.
can we just get a PC that cleans itself already? Yes.
So,
Look at that. Love it.
oh yeah.
Love
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, you're good. I forgot about that too. So this is our back panel that we mentioned before. We've got 2 filters that are gonna go right here. Oh yeah. And these just like the top, they just sit right on. And that's how easy it is. So you can just pull this back panel off, take these off, and you're good to go. All right, you want to start with this one, I guess, since
Yeah.
we got it right here. I've got the 2 screws for it right here.
And as a quick reminder, once again, this is the giveaway build for the silent auction at DreamHack with LANFest. You definitely want to check it out and see it because it's going to be on there and it's going to look super pretty. We're about to see what it looks like. And of course, if you would like to know more about LANFest and how you can get involved, head on over to LANFest.com. Now, one thing I do want to talk about as they're getting those panels back on is our website, because we haven't had a chance to talk about that, and that is going to be let's just do that real quick. At CLXgaming.com, we make it effortless to try and get the PC built of your dreams and with your needs. Whether you're choosing your own CPU, your GPU, and everything else, you can get it all done right there, and we've got a foolproof system that ensures that you don't have any conflicts with any of your hardware. In the event that you accidentally choose 2 things that don't necessarily go together, don't worry. We've got a way of solving that for you. That little add to cart button will turn yellow and say solve conflict. So for example, if you choose DDR5 memory, but you have a DDR4 motherboard, it's going to give you the option of either switching to DDR4 memory or choosing a different motherboard that meets the needs of the RAM that you chose. That way, everything is working when it heads on over to testing with our tech team. And if you're not really in the mood to build your own PC, don't worry. We've got dozens upon dozens of ready-to-ship models that are already waiting for a home, and that home might just be yours. So for all of your PC needs, head on over to CLXgaming.com and get your step up and upgrade today. Now, I did mention something that, of course, we haven't really talked about. Paul, what happens to this PC once it goes once we're done here with it?
Yeah, so this machine, just like any regular customer build we would do, or your PC back there, DJ, once it's done and powers on, it goes to our testing and integration department. So the first thing we do there is get into the BIOS. We'll make sure all of our storage devices are showing up, our RAM speed is set correctly, and then depending on the operating system, sometimes there's some other settings that we need to do there. If we have to do a BIOS update, that's where we'll do that. After that, we'll load the operating system. Looks like this one's getting Windows 11 Home. Any games the customer has selected or that we need to put on the system. And then after that, it goes through a 12-hour burn-in or stress test. So we've got a few different benchmarking softwares we use. The main one, though, is 3D Mark. That gives us a good assessment of how the PC is running. And then if there's a component in here that would fail in a gaming environment but still allows the system to turn on, it allows us to catch that component here, fix it, replace it, and test it again and make sure that you get a stable system.
Awesome. Well, it looks like this is ready to go, and it's about time that we just kick off and see what we can do.
Yeah, so we got it plugged in. I think I was seeing some lights on in there, right? So you can tell we're getting power. It's cool how those lights are coming on. Those aren't the fans that are glowing. They can actually, that motherboard right there. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, are we good, Jason?
Looks good.
Sweet. Go ahead, Zach.
Let's power it on. Oh, look at that. It's gorgeous. Ooh. That is one heck of a PC.
Nice.
See all the colors, the logos. And you can, of course, adjust the fans using the remote controls to get the right color just the way you want it, just the way you need it. It'll all sync up. So let's go ahead and cover once again what's inside this amazing LANFest themed PC giveaway for LANFest at DreamHack in Dallas next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. And this is what goes into it. We've got an Intel Core i7-13700KF mounted on an ASRock M Steel Legend motherboard. This is 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 RAM, and of course the graphics are provided by a brand new Intel Arc A750 8GB graphics card. The main storage drive is going to be a 2 terabyte Kingston NV2 M.2 SSD, and of course it is going to be cooled by a CLX Quench 240 closed liquid cooler and 9 Gamdias Aeolus M2 ARGB fans, and all of that is powered by a 750 watt Silverstone SFX 750 80 plus platinum power supply. Nice, well done. That is incredible. Comments, questions, concerns?
I love it.
This thing looks great. I like with the fans on blue, but yeah, you can set them anywhere you want.
Yeah.
So.
And of course, you can see that the Intel Arc line on that graphics card coming out, which is going to look great. So, first of all, this show happens in 2 parts. We're going to be taking a break here shortly, and when we come back, you're going to spend the afternoon with Zack as he continues building out more incredible PCs. Don't forget, this show happens every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific. That is 2 Eastern, where we go deep inside those builds and assemble them from the ground up. You can find out more about what's going on with CLX Gaming at CLX Gaming on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. You can also find us there on Discord, discord.gg/CLX Gaming, and on Twitch at CLX Gaming TV. You can get codes for entries into our amazing giveaway with the NV7 all of those channels, and also over on my Twitch channel. I will have one today, and we'll be playing Destiny 2 over there after a little while. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Major Linux, also known as Marcus Summers, here from the board of directors with LANFest, for taking the time out of your morning to sit here with us while we go through this and have a great conversation about opportunities for our viewers.
No problem. It's definitely been my pleasure to be here. Again, you can visit us over at lanfest.com. Get involved. If you've got a LANFest chapter near you, definitely go pay them a visit. Go hit up their Discord servers. And hey, if you want one, get some friends together and try to start one. We're trying to grow all over the country and even beyond the border. So hey, never know.
That's absolutely incredible. So once again, we look forward to seeing everybody at LANFest when we hit Dallas here in another week. It's basically a week is when we land, 7 days from now. So let's see. On behalf of Kyle and Jason in production, Paul and Zach and Marcus in the studio, I'm DJ BluePDX. Don't go away. We've got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.